Welcome back to my YouTube channel Rise and Conquer. Today we dive into one of the most powerful and timeless quotations in human history: the unexamined life is not worth living. These words, spoken by the ancient Greek philosopher Socrates, continue to echo across centuries, challenging us to pause, reflect, and ask ourselves the deepest questions about who we are, what we're doing, and why we're doing it. When Socrates uttered this phrase, he wasn't merely offering a piece of advice. He was making a bold statement about the very essence of human existence. To him, living without reflection, without examination, without seeking meaning, was not truly living at all. And today, more than 2,000 years later, these words are more relevant than ever. Think about it. In our modern world, it's so easy to get caught in the endless cycle of routine: wake up, work, eat, scroll, sleep, repeat. Days blur into weeks, weeks into months, and suddenly years slip by. Many people spend their entire lives without ever truly asking themselves, am I living with purpose? Am I aligned with my values? Am I pursuing the life I really want, or just following the path laid out for me? The unexamined life is not worth living because it strips us of awareness. It denies us the chance to grow into our fullest selves. Without reflection, we drift like a ship without a compass, going wherever the waves take us, rather than steering toward our own chosen destination. Examination gives us clarity. It's the process of holding a mirror to our own existence, seeing not only what we like but also what we need to change. But here's the powerful truth: examining your life is not about judgment or guilt. It's not about drowning yourself in regret for what you should have done differently. Instead, it's about curiosity. It's about developing the courage to look at yourself honestly and ask, who am I becoming? Take a moment to consider this. When was the last time you sat in silence and reflected on your journey? Not just about what you have, but about who you are. We spend hours thinking about bills, jobs, relationships, and goals, but how often do we stop and reflect on the deeper meaning behind it all? Socrates is inviting us to step back and engage in this kind of reflection, not once in a lifetime, but consistently, as a practice. Why does this matter? Because self-examination is the foundation of growth. Without it, there's no progress. Think of it like climbing a mountain. You don't just look up and start climbing blindly. You stop, study the path, and plan your route. The same is true of life. If you never pause to look within, you'll keep repeating the same mistakes, falling into the same patterns, and living by default instead of design. The unexamined life can feel safe. It can feel comfortable, because examining your life forces you to confront truths you might prefer to ignore. It requires you to admit that some habits, relationships, or beliefs no longer serve you. It may even demand change. And change, as we all know, is uncomfortable. But comfort is not the same as fulfillment. Growth never comes from staying the same. It comes from reflection, from awareness, from examination. So how do we live an examined life? It begins with questions. Simple yet powerful questions like, what am I grateful for? What am I pursuing, and why does it matter to me? Am I living according to my values, or someone else's? What fears are holding me back? When you ask yourself these questions, you begin to peel back the layers of automatic living. You move from survival to awareness, from drifting to choosing. You gain the power to reshape your path. Let's remember that examination isn't about perfection. Nobody has all the answers. Even Socrates himself, the very man who gave us this quote, often said, I know that I know nothing. That's the beauty of it. Examination isn't about arriving at final truths. It's about staying open, curious, and willing to explore. Living an examined life also means embracing responsibility. Once you become aware of who you are and what you want, you can no longer hide behind excuses. You can no longer blame others or luck or fate. Examination gives you ownership. It hands you the keys to your own destiny. That responsibility can be heavy, but it's also liberating. Because the moment you accept responsibility is the moment you take back control. Now imagine this. Picture your life 10 years from now. Do you want to look back and realize you lived passively, just going through the motions? Or do you want to look back knowing you lived deliberately, that you examined your choices, that you grew, evolved, and pursued meaning? The examined life gives you that future. It gives you the confidence to say, I lived with awareness. I lived with purpose. But here's the challenge: self-examination is not a one-time event. It's a lifelong practice. Just like muscles grow through consistent training, our wisdom grows through consistent reflection. Journaling, meditation, deep conversations, even just taking a quiet walk alone, these are tools to examine your life regularly. Every reflection, no matter how small, brings you closer to alignment with your true self. The unexamined life is not worth living, not because it lacks survival, but because it lacks depth. It lacks meaning. It reduces us to mere existence, when in truth, we are capable of living extraordinary lives filled with purpose, passion, and impact. So today, I invite you to take that bold step. Don't be afraid to look inward. Don't be afraid to ask yourself the hard questions. Don't be afraid to grow. The examined life may not always be comfortable, but it will always be worth it. Because in the end, the measure of a life well lived is not how much we acquired or how busy we stayed, it's how deeply we understood ourselves, how fully we expressed our potential, and how courageously we chose to live. Remember this: you have the power to write your own story. You have the ability to examine your life and transform it. And when you do, you'll discover that the greatest fulfillment doesn't come from avoiding reflection, it comes from embracing it. For in that embrace lies wisdom, freedom, and true purpose. So rise up, conquer your fears, and dare to live not just a life, but an examined life.